I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, we're now deep into winter 2019. So let me just give you a little bit of a snapshot update here of where the market is right now. I don't want to get into too much detail here because this blog is going to be a little different here. But I will brush on here where we kind of currently stand, and I will also break out my crystal ball here a little bit and just kind of give you an idea of where I foresee things going over the next 18 to 24 months here. So, as I speak right now, as I've blogged about, the market has slowed as far as sales activity. Prices for Vancouver condos, 1 bedrooms, 1 in dens, even 2 bedrooms for Vancouver, Kitts, Mount Pleasant, the surrounding area, are holding pretty damn strong, especially in the 1 bedroom market. Sales are down 30%, 35%, but the prices are still holding pretty firm. And if anyone tells you otherwise, that the market's crashing, they're lying to you. If you want to see for yourself, just go on to realtor.ca, plug in 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 520 square feet or larger for under $675 and see what you bring up. You're not going to bring up very much. If you want a larger 1 bedroom, maybe 600 square foot and above, under $7 or $725, again, you're not going to be bringing up very much. And a lot of what you are going to bring up probably isn't really worth buying, in my opinion. I've talked many times about buying quality, spending a little bit extra to get a quality unit in a good strata, in a good neighborhood, in a good location. The ones that get killed in a slowing market are the dogs. The ones that are, hugging up against bridges or on heinously busy intersections or streets, bad stratas, levees coming down, not well maintained. Those ones you might be able to get on sale, but who really wants to buy those? But this blog I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to call this one, You Asked For It, You've Got It. And, it has to do with, as we all know, prices in Vancouver here have been on a tremendous tear here for the last 6.5 years. We're now seeing early signs of maybe it's starting to cool. I mean, it started to cool in the detached market 2.5 years ago. Prices there are in correction mode on most detached. But as well as in the luxury condo market, over $2.5 or $3 million, prices have softened. On the 1 bedrooms, on the studios, on the 1 in dens, 2 bedrooms in Vancouver, prices are holding pretty firm. Sales volume is down, but for right now, and you'll be the first one to know, prices are holding up quite well because it's in that affordability range. But you asked for it, you got it. The government, not only provincially, but federally as well, has wanted to cool this housing market for the last couple of years, and looks like they're starting to do it. The big one was the B20 mortgage regulations, the stress test. This was the big one. Now, they have been tightening the screws on mortgage qualification for at least 7 years now. Watch my blogs. I've done many blogs on all the different things they were doing to make it tougher and tougher. Now, of course, you have to qualify at a posted rate plus 2%. So if you can get in at a 3.5% for 5 years, you've got to qualify at 5.5%. That has put a huge bucket of water on affordability and even getting qualified for a mortgage. That is the big one that has cooled this market, but it's had some repercussions. The repercussions is if you look at the inventory, it's gone up a little bit in the last month or so since Christmas, but not a whole lot. As I say, do some searches for yourself. Part of the problem here, and I've talked about this before, is that people cannot move up market. I have got all kinds of clients that I have sold into 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, townhomes that have bought years ago. They've got $200,000 of equity and they want to now move up from a townhouse to a detached house, or they want to move up from a 1 bedroom to a 2 bedroom. They've got lots of down payment funds, they've got equity, but they go down to their bank and they cannot qualify for that larger home based on their income and the stress test. So they're stuck. And this is one of the main reasons why we're not seeing a ton of inventory. People are holding tight to what they've got. They'd like to move up, but they can't because of these mortgage regulations. So it's really, remember, for every action there's a reaction, and a lot of people don't talk about that. I see it firsthand. I have at least 6 clients right now that we've talked that, hey, Owen, I'd like to move up. I see some of these detached homes in East Van. I can sell my Yaletown condo for 1.4, and I can buy a starter home for 1.6, a Vancouver special with a suite. I went to my bank. They won't lend me the money. So this is why we've got what we've got right now, a bit of a Mexican standoff here. Inventory is still quite low. Prices for condos, which is the big part of the market, don't forget. A lot of people point to the detached market like that's in crash mode. Remember, the detached market is a very small percentage of the market. Most people are buying condos, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. Those prices have held pretty solid. Let me tell you a couple other things here on the you asked for it, you got it front. People can't move up because of the stress test. Developers now, as you guys know, I've got some inside edge with many developers, commercial realtors. My office, MACDONALD Realty, does a lot of the marketing for projects. I can tell you that there are dozens of projects in the West End, Cole Harbour, downtown Vancouver that have all been approved. You can walk by the site, they've got the designs, the developer permits are all there. But have you seen very many get launched here in the last 6 months? Or even in Mount Pleasant or Kitsilano or Canby? You haven't. And there's a reason for that, because there's a lot of uncertainty now with the developers with this NDP government. They're not sure about the economy. They're not sure about what's coming next for taxes. They're not sure what's coming next for interest rate hikes or more mortgage tightening or whatever. Now I should point out though, just keep in mind that none of this will be what anyone considers affordable units. Everything from this point on, like I've told people, is going to be luxury condos. 1,500 a square foot up to 3,000 a square foot. So if you're waiting for some market correction where developers are going to start building $750 or $800 a square foot condos, that's never going to happen. The land is just, when they're paying $100 million for a small parcel of land, they're only going to build high-end luxury buildings from this point on. So keep that in mind. But what I'm telling you here is that for the next few years with this uncertainty, you'll see a few projects get off the ground, some luxury stuff, but a lot of it, even out in the outskirts, in places Richmond, Burnaby, Coquitlam, you're going to see these developments slow down. They already have, and they're postponing a lot of these pre-sales because of the uncertainty. So we've got 40,000 people coming into the Lower Mainland every year, and we never did have much in the way of supply, as I blogged about. We've always done kind of a trickle-in approach here, where we slowly bleed in new development, and part of that is because of all the restrictions we have here. Water, mountains, agricultural land reserve. It's tough to build a lot of supply even when they give you the developers all the green lights to go. So you've got people moving in, the cavalry isn't on the way. What's going to happen is, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, this uncertainty will lift. Probably it'll be because the NDP will lose power, which all governments do. This is exactly what happened 20 years ago, the last time the NDP was in power. If you don't, a lot of people are too young to remember. Ask your parents. We went from first to worst. We went from the strongest economy in the country to dead last within 2 years. Meanwhile, in the rest of North America, in the United States, it was unprecedented boom times and we were in a recession. I can see the same thing maybe happening here too. They inherited the strongest economy 2 years ago, and we'll see how this goes over the next 2 years. But what will eventually happen is the government will get booted, maybe a more pro-business, pro-development government will come in, and we'll be able to turn the taps on again for development. But keep in mind, it's going to be like a coiled spring. I've seen this before. The market's going to turn, sentiment will turn overnight, just like it did in the last correction we had in 2012, 2013. I had 12, 13 listings at one time. Within 2 months, I had sold everything. That's the way these markets go. Sentiment changes and off they go again. But we're going to be caught with our pants down. No development has come out for the last few years, or limited because of the uncertainty now. And remember, we can't turn the taps on and have new units coming on in 6 months. It's going to take 4 years. They're going to scramble, start the pre-sales. That's going to take 6 months. Get the construction crews together, build the tower, which is going to take 2 years. So again, it's going to be like a coiled spring effect. That's what I think anyways. You know, the other thing that I'll probably say as well, and why governments come and go, again, you asked for it, you got it. NDP wanted to slow the housing market, bring in a speculation tax. City of Vancouver's got an empty homes tax, although those things aren't going to do anything. It's really the mortgage tightening that's really doing it, and just the overall sentiment, the market sentiment, the overall sentiment about the economy and the pipelines, and do I want to commit to a $2 million house right now? But eventually that will change. But how the catalyst will probably be is if people don't realize real estate drives this economy. 100%. Real estate owns this economy. The Vancouver Real Estate Board punches way above its weight. Way above. NDP doesn't realize that though. They're going to find out. Prices have held pretty firm in the strata market. We'll see where it goes. But sales are down. I know firsthand, I've got a number of listings. I'm selling them, but it's taking me a longer time to sell them. And I'm having to reduce depending on what the product is, especially in the higher end stuff. But real estate drives this economy in the form of the property transfer tax. It puts in billions of dollars every year into the economy. It goes into the general coffers. So when you want to drop the sales volume by 35, 40%, that's 35 to 40% less property transfer tax revenue, which again drives the province. So I'm just using my crystal ball here on how this is going to kind of unravel here for the next year and a half or 2 years. Right now, I laugh because the NDP was bragging about how strong the economy is. Wow. They inherited this economy. They've only been in power 18 months. Everything's still good from what they inherited. Let's wait another 12 to 18 months and then let's see where we are with their spending. They're spending like a drunken sailor, but they're going to have a huge income shortfall here unless the sales start to creep up a bit in the market. If you've got 30% less sales, that's billions in less in PTT that they should be collecting. So 18 months from now, don't be surprised if we see a deficit. And the cycle will start all over again. We'll get another election, NDP gets defeated, Liberal government comes in, probably removes the BC speculation tax, or what I like to call the wealth tax grab, because that's all it is. It's a wealth tax. The school tax, which is also just a complete tax grab. I'm seeing a lot of municipalities now maybe taking that to court, because, and I wish them luck, I hope they succeed, because it is just a tax grab. None of that money is going into affordable housing, folks. The little that they are going to bring in, that's going to go into the general coffers to cover other things, roads and infrastructure. They're going to need every dollar they can get with this PTT deficit they're going to be having. So this is how it'll all play, and the cycle will continue. It will go on again. I've seen this so many times over the last 32 years. But what we'll get is a bit of a coiled spring effect, I think. The economy will turn, new government. We've still got limited, the inventory we do have on hand will get diminished very quickly, and we start another cycle up. Now, I don't know if that next cycle up will be anything like the last one we've had. That one was almost once in a lifetime. It was a perfect storm. But it will turn, and the market will continue to go up from there, and a new cycle begins until the next one, and then it'll go all over again, drop, tread water. This is what real estate does. This is what the stock market does. It's a continuous cycle. But you asked for it, you got it. There are other consequences, remember, with a slowing market. You wanted to slow the real estate market, you did, but there's going to be some consequences to that, and in my opinion, it will only magnify the return or the market taking off when that next cycle hits, because again, it'll be like a bit of a coiled spring effect. That's the term I like to use for it. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.